Hello, this is part 5. I wasn't expecting to have this many parts, but I really wanted to kind of go over slowly and explain about Trust Enterprises and our Laravel package and how to kind of get used from it, just to paint a really kind of broad picture. Now, as I noted in the previous video, in this one we're going to send messages to our serverless hashgraph client. But there's one thing we need to double check. Well, two things actually. We need to create a Webhook URL, which is based off of our ngrok URL here. In fact, if I close it and then reopen it again, it creates a new URL, which tunnels to our localhost 8000. So we're going to grab this, but we also need to append the root on. Within the Laravel hashgraph project, we have our config, and the config describes the webhook route. This route is where our post requests are going to be sent from the client. So if I navigate over to our deployment and to settings, we can update the environment variables and we can set a webhook URL. So please note that I previously recorded this video and I used the wrong webhook URL. But I'm going to explain about that in a sec. The webhook URL is going to be pasted in the value, and we're going to paste in the name. And on the end, you're going to paste or add hashgraph, which is your default route that is going to be posted to. Delete, remove the webhook URL, the previous one, and then add your new one. Now, in order for this to kind of be solidified, you need to redeploy the application. Now, if we click here, we just click these 3 buttons and you can come through, you can click to overview, and you want to redeploy your client to pick up on the new environment. Now, what you need to be aware of is that this domain here, this kind of random string is always going to change. So what you really want to opt for is the kind of the default, the master app that is deployed, that URL. Previously, in my environment, I set this as my node URL, which was incorrect because it changes all the time, and so this particular URL does not understand or know what my environment is, what the webhook is. So we want to change this node URL. So if we refresh, we are now ready. We can click here. We can copy this URL and we can paste it here. So if you're using the Git master, it will always use that. Now, the fun stuff. We're going to send it some commands, and we're going to do so by creating a new Laravel command. First, let's just check that our artisan was restarted because we changed the environment. And we can come in here and we can create a new Laravel command. So we can do php artisan make command trust me. So it creates a new command. Come over to my Laravel project, open commands, and open up trust me. And we can add a signature, trust me. And all this is a CLI command that we can send, and we want to interact with the hashgraph in this way for now. To prove that this works, we're just going to add a error log with just hello world as the command, and we can jump back to our terminal and remember our signature, trust me. Come down here and say PHP artisan trust me, and it will print out hello world. Next, we're going to run some of the hashgraph commands, and so we're going to send a command through our client to Hedera, and then a webhook's going to fire, and it's going to take our topic and our message and inject them into our database. This is where it gets fun. I'm going to pop over here, remove this, and I'm going to show you where this actually is displayed from within my landing page. You can check this out in the documentation, but within the landing page, right at the bottom, we have a little idea of how little it takes to actually send a consensus message. This can be data or a string, and with a given topic that we've covered earlier. So let's do that. Down here, I'm going to write message. Oh no, I need to get that right. Message equals new consensus message. This is a message. And then down here, we're going to not worry about the reference because there's nothing really of importance going on. We're just going to create it with a topic. And this topic is trust enterprises. And we're going to send a message, which is the message. Now, of course, you don't even really need this line. You could just put new, new consensus message from within this. But, it's always nice to spread these things out. You don't want lines of code that are too long. Opt for height instead. Anyway, let's rerun that. So we'll come over back to our terminal and we rerun the previous command. Now, I do note that if you're running this in production, that you run these commands within a job, a Laravel job. The reason for this is because it's a serverless application. You want to keep the connection open in order for consensus to be reached. So we're going to run the command. And just like that, it should be done. So if we come back to our database, we have a hash graph, and we have a hash graph topic, which is trust enterprises that we've just created. And we have our consensus message, which is the message that we have just sent out, which you previously saw in the Postman video. Now, what we can do is we can just keep sending messages. So we could say, trust me, please. And 3 to 5 seconds, another one appears. And so what will end up happening is you'll build up all the messages for all of the applications that you want to deal with. And it's really simple and really flexible and really easy to just get started. If you want to change the topic, you can just change it here. And just run the command again. But in this case, it's going to create a new topic. And using that topic, then it's going to submit a new message and then return it to your database. And that's done. We can come to topics and we have trust with the ID of 77486. Come over here and then we have it linked up to this. Now that's really how simple it is to get started with Laravel hashgraph. The package makes it so simple, and you don't need blockchain experiments. There is no additional cost, no additional infrastructure. This thing, is really cool. Now, the Explorer URL is the URL you can share with our users, as described earlier. But I encourage you to start. I will create future videos to kind of show you exactly how to deploy it on something like Forge, Laravel Forge, and how to deal with queues, because what you want to ideally do is queue these commands up in a separate queue compared to your other kind of SaaS features, just so it's a better experience, and that Laravel Hashgraph can just continue to chug in the background doing its thing. But I hope you enjoyed.